So small.
That's the seat as far back as it can go. That is... Do you feel a bit vulnerable? You're not saying anything.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'll scream if...
It's just 23 horse.
23?
Yeah. I think the appeal for me is because I started off in this life with a Beetle.
Yes.
And always loving Beetles, which is a controversial car. People either love them or loathe them. It reminds me of the Beetle.
Really?
So much. Yeah, like a worse built, less roomy.
But you see, I like this, and I hate Beetles.
Do you hate them?
I hate Beetles.
Why do you hate them?
Because they're crap.
They're not crap though, they're brilliant. If you think about it, they came out in the late 30s.
Yes, so did fascism.
Yes, but there was such a robust design, simple, robust, and the character and the driving enjoyment is there.
Yes.
Do you not agree? I'm not sure.
I've driven quite a lot of Beetles because I made a TV show about them, and I learned very much to hate them. And then I did that crap cars book, and I put the Beetle as the number
yeah,
one
you
crap
did.
car.
And do you know that was before? I think that was before we were friends.
Yes. Well.
And I got one in on the magazine I was working. I got one in, you know, as a taster to review, and I was really upset about it.
Well, not as upset as many Beetle purists, one of whom said if he ever found me, he was going to drop a cylinder block on my head.
Is that?
Oh no, sorry, beg your pardon. That's wrong. That's wrong. He said he was going to drop it on my throat.
A cylinder block on my throat?
Yeah, flat 4 cylinder block on my throat.
They're really light, actually. You could have picked a heavier thing. I would have picked from a Beetle. Let's think what was really heavy.
No, it's not.
Front axle beam's quite heavy.
Does it weigh more than a box of tissues?
Yeah, way more. What? That looks like a crime scene.
He's got a Black & Decker workman in there.
Yes. Can you hear the seat springs?
Yes.
They're actually louder than the engine.
Maybe.
But
I think I could see a main road up here. Now, is this wise?
A main road?
A main road. Why do you have a Fiat 126?
I've never owned one, but I've owned a 500.
I've never owned an elephant. I believe I never will. I
have a checklist of cars that I kind of dig and I want to live with for a while.
Yes.
And an Aircore 126 is one of those. Despite the fact that it's almost deafening, that is the soundproofing. That's
I noticed this.
There's communist vinyl everywhere.
It's not really an easy way to say this. The roof is carpet.
It's one of the
carpeted. This is hard wearing.
It's those doormats that retired people have that you buy from the shopping channel. You know the ones? It's the same pattern.
Yes.
Is it JML, that company that sells amazing floor mops and stuff, and always has a TV in Boots which says, buy this floor mop, it's the best floor mop you've ever used, ever. And people go, how good can a floor mop be? I haven't answered your question about why I bought it.
Well, no, I think you sort of have. You wanted one, you bought one.
It stopped working.
What?
The car has stopped working. The throttle doesn't work anymore, genuinely. It's just slowing down.
Oh!
Yeah, really, yeah. We're about to break down. I'm changing down a gear into a village.
Little car!
I didn't bring a toolkit.
It's because I was being cruel about the headline.
It's not broken down. I've not broken down in it before.
It just, did you...
That felt a lot like fuel wasn't going in anymore, even though the fuel gauge is showing a quarter of a tank. Mind you, a quarter of a tank in this car is about £3. It's less than a gallon, I would say. Well, no, it's all right. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. I don't have a toolkit, like I said. Let me just go and check the engine.
I'm pretty certain it's still there.
If this starts up now, because I've identified the problem inside of 30 seconds. This is communist living. This is why
100 man points as well.
Ready? Here we go.
Yes.
High five, for sure. How would you say brilliant in Polish?
I can only say thank you, and even then I'm not quite sure I'm doing it right.
Yashkamesk. That's what I love about old cars.
I feel like I'm in Star Trek. It's like I've got some kind of,
Thunderbirds.
This is my rank.
I have IR on it, International Rescue.
Yes, it's a sash.
I could have been one of those pathetic modern people where when I saw someone, a pathetic modern person, yesterday, who was on the hard shoulder of the M25, staring at a shredded back tyre of an Audi A4, just like that. Like you'd presented them with some sort of conundrum from Countdown, and they were like, I'm just not made out for this. And it's like, guys, it's just a tyre. You know. There we go. It just vibrated the off the coil.
Just vibrates.
Look, she's back on. Look, feel the power.
Stronger than ever.
And I love this because it's just a very pleasant reminder of analog motoring, as we've just experienced back there.
Yes.
Where it doesn't really matter if it goes wrong because there's only about 3 things that it could be.
Yes.
The wiring loom is like 2 wires.
Well, I mean,
oh my god, the brakes literally aren't working.
Oh.
We're not getting off to a brilliant start. Are we? Within 5 miles, we've broken down on the brake failure. And I did the brakes about 3 months ago. Oh, I know what it was.
What?
It's the fact that my foot is my foot on the clutch and the brake. My feet are so big, if they touch one another, they cancel one another out.
Right. Now, I mean,
it's all right. I used the handbrake.
You did, and impressively quickly as well, which I admired.
I've driven a lot of cars with just absolutely catastrophic braking systems. See, now if I take my foot away from it, there you go.
Good,
look, that's okay.
Good. It's just, I mean.
You
call me a coward. It's just that when the driver of a car says the brakes are literally not working, I tend to be less relaxed in the passenger seat.
Do you know what? I've only ever had total brake failure once before, apart from that then, and that was just at 10 miles an hour. But in my old Mercedes 123, I had total brake failure once. I think the fluid had boiled, and instead of hitting a line of cars, because I was doing about 50 miles an hour, I went straight off into a really convenient huge truck stop next to the road and went all the way down this line of trucks where there was a dead end. You know, there's a dead end where there's just fly tipping.
Yeah.
And like a
did you just crash into
like
an old
in a
mattress?
film, I got up to about that close to a disused mattress, and the car stopped, and I just breathed a sigh of relief. And then I realised I was in the middle of a notorious dogging spot.
Oh no!
With total brake
no
failure.
escape.
No escape.
Well, you could, but you'd have.
Why escape? I just
run over a local pervert.
I bought this car from a chap who I wrote the name into my phone as Polish Mike because he's Mike and he's from Poland, and he deals in wholesale vegetables, which is true. Yeah, true. In North Wales.
What? Free range egg. What if you get there and someone's already bought it?
But yet the next sign. No.
Oh, I see. Yes.
But free range egg. You go.
Egg.
Oh, I've come to buy the egg. No,
Sorry, it's gone for today.
Yeah, tomorrow there'll be another egg available. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah.
Are we really going to go on the A1?
Do you want to go on the A1?
Do I want to go on the A1? It would amuse me.
Let's do it, Rich. Let's do it.
With the in a sort of.
As long as that spay connector doesn't come off the coil.
Bungee jumping way. Oh yes. I notice you have no passenger side mirror.
That was an option. Which the owner obviously didn't get. My Allegro doesn't have one either. It has a blanking plug.
Do you want me to spot you? Oh, you're alright.
That's the great thing about it. Look at the visibility. It's awesome.
It is quite. It's good, isn't it?
You can actually drive side saddle, and I think it would be quite enjoyable. So we're doing 90 kph now. We're on the
London is a mere 98 miles away. Why we could be there within 5 hours. But it's sort of settled down to an even.
Yeah, that's 90 kph, so it's not killing itself.
No, I mean,
it's a positive.
I hesitate
buzz.
to call it undistressed, but it's not. It's not screaming its bearings off, is it?
No, it's good. It's a usable classic, and also I think it's possibly, with the Polish cars being made so late, I actually think this is the best first classic for people. in order to understand how a car works, have a chance of repairing it.
Yes.
The parts are so cheap. Honestly, the parts are so cheap.
I suppose if you were a complete newcomer to everything to do with cars and you got this as your first classic, and then after a bit you upgraded yourself to say an MGB, you'd open the bonnet, you'd see the radiator, and you'd say, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
But the simplicity of this must be.
I don't know if an MGB is an upgrade, frankly. I'm going to say that, it's controversial. I'd have this over an MGB any day.
I think I would as well. There we go.
I bought this car because I saw the condition of it. It was red, and I thought, what a great little Valentine's present, because my wife likes little cutesy cars. She's got a Figaro, which I blow hot and cold with, to put it politely. And yeah, I just kind of thought, oh yeah, I'll buy it for her, you know. And then when Valentine's Day came about, this was a year ago, I said, I've bought you this car, it's outside, it's in the garage, and she just went, you haven't bought that for me. That was how quick the transaction was.
The flowers are more traditional, I'll give you that.
Flowers are more traditional. I thought this was a fucking cool car for.
So has she ever driven it?
No.
Okay. Good.
She's never been in it. She's never been. And I said, okay, I understand. It was a silly, irrational thing. I'm going to sell it, and that was a year ago. Yeah, because it was just been Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
What did I get her for this year's Valentine's Day?
I don't know. I'm going to guess a chainsaw.